With exams, you need to prepare for an exam, but oftentimes we're not told how to do that. Much like if you were going to run a marathon, you would need to use a lot of time to train properly in order to do well in the marathon. Or similarly with first responders, emergency crews on ambulances, they don't just go out to the scene of an accident completely unprepared. They're trained for what they're going to face, and then they go out and whatever is there, they hopefully had training for, and then they start going to work without panicking. An exam is similar. So here's a breakdown of a suggestion on how to do this. Let's say, for example, you've got an exam and it's going to happen on the 14th. So this is your day of the exam. So you're going to start on the 7th. You would like a week to start. Now that would be great. Sometimes you have a week, sometimes you don't. If you have one full week, you should be in good shape. How would this work? Well, what you would ideally do is on day number 1, in other words, the 7th, 1 week before the exam, you need to pick 3 problems, and those problems you're going to work once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. What problems are you going to pick? You're going to pick 3 of the very hardest problems that you found in your homework or in a review. Now, what problems are you looking for depends on your instructor. Some instructors give you a review with problems. If you've got a review sheet and you think the instructor's really giving you problems similar to those that will be on the test, pick 3 of the hardest problems off that exam review sheet and work those once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening. If you have an instructor that doesn't give you an exam review sheet or doesn't really prep you for the exam in any way, go back to your homework. Look at the homework that represents material coming up on the exam and pick what section you struggled with the most and go pick 3 problems. One thing that we need to stress, though, is that they don't need to be the very hardest of hard problems. What do we mean? Don't pick super weird word problems that are uncommon that the instructor doesn't seem to care about. You need to pick problems that are considered hard for you, but they're not oddly hard in terms of it would be impossible to do it on an exam. So find something that's a hard problem topic-wise, pick 3 of them in total because there's always tricks to different problems and you need some variation. So pick 3 different ones that all hone in on some new trick and make sure that they're difficult, but not so difficult that they would never even show up on the test. Work them once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening. Try not to look at the notes as much as you can. At first, it's going to take you some time because you're not ready for it. So use the notes, but hopefully by the evening, you won't need the notes as much to get through those problems. Then when you get to day number 2, so on this calendar, we'd be talking about the 8th. What you're going to do is this. You wake up in the morning and rework the problems you did on day number 1. After that, you're going to pick a new batch of 3 problems to work the rest of that day. So you'll pick 3, not of the hardest, but they're going to be harder problems from the homework sets or from the review sheet. You'll focus on those and do them in the morning after you've recapped on the 3 you did the previous day. So wake up, do the ones you already did, then do these 3 new ones, do the 3 new ones in the afternoon, 3 new ones in the evening, and do a final recap of the other problems you did on day 1 right in the evening before you go to bed. As you keep doing this, you're going to build this kind of cumulative nature on how you're working the problems. So now we'd be on the 9th here on the calendar if this is day 3. And what you're going to do in the morning, work all the problems you did on day 1 and day 2. That'll be the first thing you do in the morning. After you finish those, you need 3 new problems. They're going to be hard problems, but they're not as hard as the problems you started working the previous days before. Focus on these 3 new hard problems. Do them in the morning, in the afternoon, and then in the evening. Afterward, go back and at night, do all the problems you did on day 1 and day 2 before you go to bed at some point. Keep building up in this same way. So day 4, what's going to happen is this would be the 10th on our calendar. You're going to pick 3 problems. These will probably be medium difficulty. And they're going to be new ones. So in the morning on day 4, work all the problems you've done on days 1, 2, and 3. And then in the morning, start that new batch of the medium problems. Do them again in the afternoon. Do them again in the evening. And right before bed or sometime in the evening, go back and do all the problems you did from days 1, 2, and 3. Keep building in this way. You always want to review the problems once in the morning and the evening from all the previous days, but add a new batch of problems to work in the morning, afternoon, and evening on that new day. What'll happen is once you get to the end of this, you're going to come up and get to like day 6, and your hope is that you're going to pick some easy problems that don't take a whole lot of thought. Why? Because as you look at the dates here on your calendar, you start working out by the time you get to the, not the day before the exam, but 2 days before the exam. So day 6, and this would represent the 12th. Our exam would be on the 14th. When you get to the 12th, you want easy problems. Why? You don't have much time before the exam to review them. So you'll pick the easy problems to do right before you get into the exam. And then when you get to day 13, the day right before the exam, recap all the problems you've studied all week long, but don't add hardly any new problems at all because you don't have enough time to let that soak in. When you go into the exam, you'll have basically worked all the problems you chose starting on day 1, a total of about 15 times. You'll do all your day 2 problems in that week period, starting from day 2, a total of about 13 times. So all the hardest problems you've worked the most, and all the easiest problems you've worked on the least number of times. And once you get to the exam, you'll be well prepared and trained for it. When you get to the exam, open up the exam and look at the problems on the exam without even holding a pen or a pencil. Just thumb through it. And once you've looked at all the problems, start working on the ones that look familiar to you. If it looks hard, skip it. If the first problem is super hard, it'll screw your whole exam up if that's what you try to do first. So look over the entire thing and try to pick the easy problems first for you, then go back and do the hard problems. It'll make it a lot more efficient. You'll get through the exam a lot easier, and you'll still have energy at the end to go back and burn up time and effort on those problems that you may not be sure how to attack. So this is a great way to do it. And just like the people that do first response, when they go to a scene of an accident, if somebody's been decapitated, they don't come off the ambulance panicked and frantic and worried. They come out with their tools, their bags, everything they need, and they just go to work because they're trained to respond to what they're facing. When you go to the exam, you're going to open it up, and when you see the problems, you should instantly just respond based on your training. If you panic, it's a sign that you didn't study enough on that topic. Hope this helps you guys with your exam prep. You guys have a good one and take care. Bye-bye.